Well, I think we should get started. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome, everybody. This is why we do what we do. This is the class of 2020. I'm so looking forward to celebrating with this class, having all of you join in their celebration, hearing about their journey, getting to meet the individual class members. I know many of you have spent time with the entire class and others know individuals. I want to thank folks for coming out and supporting our class. Any alumni will tell you how much work this program is, but how rewarding it is as well. So right now I'm going to turn it over to Debbie O'Dare. Debbie is a graduate of the class of 2006. She is currently the Associate Director of Stewardship and Events for the Advancement Team at the Perimeter Institute and is no stranger to leadership Waterloo Region. She's a former board member, a volunteer for many, many years, and a supporter. I'll turn it over to you, Debbie. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. We would like to begin our time together today by acknowledging that the land on which the Leadership Waterloo Region offices operate and from where we are hosting this gathering is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and Neutral people. We acknowledge the enduring presence of the Indigenous people with whom we share this land today, their achievements, and their contributions to our community. We offer this acknowledgement as an act of reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples of Canada. I was honored to be able to be asked to deliver these remarks and to participate in your commencement. I don't think I've met most of the people in the class or on the screen, although it's nice to see some familiar faces again, like Karen Voisin. Haven't seen you in a long time. Before I hand the virtual podium back to Diane, I'd like to extend my personal congratulations to all of you. I admit that as an alum, whoops, sorry, my screen is just playing with me here. I might be a bit biased, but it seems to me you showed great wisdom in signing up for this program as you traveled your leadership journey. But who knew back in August when you were starting this, that this thing called COVID would appear, affecting every part of our lives and certainly testing our leadership abilities at many scores, and that you'd have to complete this program virtually. So much of this program is about connections and interpersonal relationships. It's about getting out into the community, and that is so hard to do on Zoom. Kudos to all of you for sticking through it, for making that big pivot. I hear you did it with grace, with dedication, with determination. I hear there are strong bonds of trust and friendship within the class despite all those challenges. So, you know, I had thought about sharing my experiences about the program, the value of the network, all of that kind of stuff that I've said before, because I do believe all of it. But then I read your Affordable Housing Solutions Lab report and I watched the videos and I was blown away. This isn't about me or my time in the program. This celebration is about your experiences, about the work you have all done. As I looked at your work, I was reminded of an old Margaret Mead quote, and I'm going to share it. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. It looks to me like the class of 2020 is well on the way to changing this part of the world. Your leadership in this project, the report, your ongoing work in the housing realm in Waterloo Region, it's all inspiring. I have a feeling your report's going to be a catalyst for some great improvements in the local housing situation. And that is what I call leadership. So congratulations to each of you and well done. Thank you.
Debbie, such strong sentiment. It's so well said. And I know through the Alumni Network, you will have opportunities to meet this class. So that is what we're looking forward to. Thank you so much for that word. If we could move to the next slide, please. So we want to see who we're here for. Well, this is it. This is the class of 2020. You'll have the opportunity to see who is who and meet them all individually at a later date or a later time in the program. but this is the group that we are here to celebrate. As you know, Leadership Waterloo Region really works with the community. We have partnerships, investors that we turn to in order to get our work done. The sponsors and partners that we celebrate today that have allowed us to give such quality education to the class of 2020 are listed here. Gratitude is a word that only touches on what this means to our organization. We wouldn't exist without these folks. We wouldn't be able to have impact on this community and make sure that we have leaders trained to come forward. As we move to the next set of folks we'd really like to thank, it's our employers. People who have faith to give their employees the opportunity to go through this 10-month program. Many of these employers have been with us a long time, and some of them are new on board. But we want to say thank you for trusting us with your employees, and thank you for trusting that the leadership journey that they're going on is a great benefit to all. The last part I really want to thank is our community partners. The folks in the community that open their doors, they allowed us to host our our leadership days. They join us on our virtual days. They have enabled us to see behind the scenes and experience things that normally we would never get to experience. So the access to this community will never be taken for granted. For that, I say thank you. Well, how does a staff of 2.25 get the job done? Well, it's because of our volunteers. We would not be able to do even a quarter of what we're able to achieve without this group of dedicated people. So I would like to thank our program facilitators, our curriculum advisors, selection committee, gala committee, and our board of directors. Thank you for seeing the opportunity that lays ahead with leadership and for devoting your time and talent to this community. Thank you. So as we move on, I'm just going to take a few minutes to sort of reflect on the class of 2020 and share some of my experiences and just talk about some of the funny moments and some of the most hearing moments that we had. Well, what can I say, guys? You made it. For many reasons, 2020 and the class of 2020, well, you'll never be forgotten. I have to say you're one of the most unique group of caring, curious, intelligent, and motivated leaders I have ever had the honor to work with. I want to thank you for so many great memories and unique learning opportunities, your participation in the program, and all of that care and joy you provided along the way. I knew that the relationships that would be formed in this group amongst yourselves and with the team would be very strong. We had our first meeting August 2019 at Quarry, and I could not get the break to end. The chatter was unbelievable, the laughter. So after the first 5-6 minutes, when I tried to corral everyone back in, Bethan and I looked at each other and said, this group is going to get along just fine. We had an opening retreat in September 2019. And I have to say that was one of the best moments for me that whole year. Your openness to learn about yourself, your community, and each other made that weekend so memorable. When Elder Lois McDonald came in and set the intentions and we had a smudge ceremony and she had us line up by age, I knew we would make fast friends. I'll never forget people's faces when the Demby drums started to be unloaded from a truck and set up at the back of the room. Many of you thought, what have I got myself into? That had to be one of the most fun moments we've experienced the entire year. The trust you have to have in your partner in a drum circle, the rest of your team, to be able to do things with your eyes closed, and the followership it takes to be able to follow what the next person's doing, were all great leadership. But the uncontrollable giggles is what made the friendships come about. I want to thank you for being open to learning about yourself and really examining your own values and the moments in your life that have brought you to where you are today. When we look at those dominant emotions, and thanks to Jackie Lauer, your emotional intelligence, you really took the time and energy to learn more. I also have fond memories of Mark and Sam Hurwitz having you all run around in followership, the most action-packed followership activities I've ever seen. That first night we went to a pizzeria in Stratford, and you can imagine when you have 20 people walk in for dinner. And at the end of the night, the waitress said to me, you know what? Thanks for bringing your class here tonight. I had so much fun. My team and I really enjoyed ourselves. So that tells you what our class was like. I also have to say that this isn't a shy group. There was lots of teasing and lots of fun. But when it came to contacting the broader members in our community, and you have to remember that this group reached out with the Affordable Housing Project and spoke to over 60 organizations, or that includes nonprofits, government, industry. They didn't hold back. If they thought somebody would have the information, they went forward. We hear back from community partners, and this year when we've gone out with our class and said, just to let you know, we're having a class again this year and they'll follow up, the feedback has been, well, the folks last year were professional, knowledgeable, and they sure did their homework. I want to thank the class as well. Thank you for being so open with each other. You know, we set our rules, and one of those was Vegas rules. What happens in class stays in class. And I think it's because of that trust, you were able to open up and really learn more about yourself. You know, as John Neufeld said from the House of Friendship, not one of you are normal. You really aren't. What normal person would decide to take a year undertaking like you had to take again? And at that time, we didn't know there would be COVID. And I have very fond memories of going in the community, spending time at the Cambridge Islamic Center. And thanks to our good friend, John Goodman, Police Services, he organized a behind the scenes tour of police headquarters, then going on to the regional courts, and then Grand Valley Institute for Women. The confidence that you showed, we had a day of innovation, and we were granted the privilege to have 5 of our regional mayors and Chair Redmond attend. And you, again, did not hold back. The participation was high, the questions were well thought out, and there wasn't a break in the conversation. When March came, I want to thank you. You know, COVID hit, but none of you missed a beat. You trusted that we would continue your leadership journey. You took your studies online. Instead of taking our class to the community, well, we had to bring the community to our class. Your flexibility to alter your expectations, your availability and commitment showed true leadership, and it was appreciated. Now, let's spend a moment talking about the Affordable Housing Lab. You were the very first class to undergo this partnership with the University of Waterloo, Dr. Sean Goby from the Waterloo Institute of Social Innovation and Resilience and Wellbeing Waterloo Region, who have had great impact on this community. Now, we all know working in a solutions lab isn't a straightforward experience. You know there's an A to B, but there's no direction on how to get there. It's only through your exploration, research, trust, and questioning you were able to come up with those concrete solutions. And I'm sure Sean would agree with me that you surpassed our expectations. What's next for that? Well, Bethan's going to be dropping the link to the report in the chat, but we're going to be taking it public through a few meetings where we will be targeting key individuals to invite to see if we can get traction to take some of these amazing solutions forward. There's so many people to thank, but I want you to look in a mirror and thank yourself. This is a journey for you, but if you only could just take a moment to feel the impact your involvement has had on everybody else. And for that, I say thank you. Now, there's no crying on Zoom because you're recorded and it's there forever. So I'm going to suck it up here and just say what an honor. Thank you for your time, your friendship, your dedication. And I know I, for one, will be in touch, and I look forward to seeing where your leadership journey takes you. Thank you so much and congratulations. Now I have the opportunity of introducing another one of our alumni to the group. It's my pleasure to introduce to you today, David Calder. David is a graduate of 2003. And he is the city manager for the city of Cambridge. David, I'm just going to turn that over to you. Thank you so much for being here today.
Terrific, Diane. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for having me. I have to say, it's a real honor to be part of this celebration today. But just listening to the previous speakers, Debbie and yourself, it sure conjured up a lot of memories from my experience back in 2003. And I know the organization has changed a lot in those years. It's hard to believe, 17 years ago. I don't know where that went, but I think like anything, Leadership Waterloo Region has been evolving for the better, always improving. And I think, it's just stellar, the work that's come out of this group on the affordable housing aspect of our community and the dire needs that are there for it. So I think as Diane mentioned, those solutions in there will be looked at, they will be reviewed, and I can promise you that as we, as a city of Cambridge, go down the journey of affordable housing, we will take those comments and items under consideration. But Diane, as you said, this isn't really about me, but I've been asked to talk a little bit about my experience. But first of all, I did want to congratulate the class of 2020. And I think, it would be remiss of me if I didn't give a special shout out to Deborah Ingram, who is, as many of you may know, my executive assistant. So I have a bias in terms of her celebration of today and getting through the program. I think I also wanted to mention that City of Cambridge was an early adopter of the program in terms of participation. And I think I was one of the first from the City of Cambridge to participate back in 2003. We've continued to have participants in the program since, as have a number of other municipalities and other local agencies that have a municipal focus. So I think that's great. I also wanted to recognize that, yes, who would have thought that when you started this journey, you'd be in the midst of a global pandemic and the challenges that has provided for you to come to fruition in your program. And I think that's got to be something else to really celebrate, is to be able to continue to collaborate virtually, probably for the most part. But again, it's amazing how innovative we've been during this pandemic to do things differently. And I think that's a real testament to our willingness to focus and change and pivot, as we say, to experience new ways of doing business and outreach. But I think, like I said, this is a year of first. I can't imagine, Diane, you thought you'd be doing a virtual commencement event today. So here we are. This is a milestone in the organization. As somebody said, the pandemic has really elevated us to do various things, online or virtually, that would have taken us years to do if we weren't forced to do it. So there are some, upsides to some of the situations that we've had to encounter. I also want to acknowledge and thank you for having me in front of many of my peers. There's a lot of familiar faces on the commencement program today. And I think one of the things I wanted to say about my experience is that, those relationships that you talked about and that Debbie talked about in terms of the network, they're really important. And some of these relationships that I have now are 17, 18 years old in terms of, I come back to people like some of our political leaders that are on the call today that I've had experiences with, Tony Dennison in terms of some fundraising activities. I can go on. Bethan, we've had experience with another charitable group that we both participated in. So yes, your paths will continue to cross as you go down this road. But I really wanted to just take a few minutes to talk about my experience and sort of what I've gotten out of it as I move forward in my career as a leader. And I think one of the things that it did for me was it did create that confidence that I could be a leader. So back in 2003, a little bit younger, didn't have a lot of experience, didn't know the community that well, but felt if I wanted to develop my leadership skills and move forward in my career, it was important to me to have knowledge of community. And I felt that I wasn't really having that experience because, as a lot of us, we focus on our sectors, and it's hard to break down those barriers of moving outside of that. So in 2003, the guiding principles I think that are prevalent today were prevalent then too. And just as a reminder, those are community understanding, relationship building, collaborative leadership, and community readiness. And I think, one of the things that I learned was as I moved my career actually out of the community for a little while, that community understanding was really important to gain in other communities. So a lot of these skills you have are certainly transitional, but we have certainly focused, I know, on Waterloo region, which is where most of us are employed. I've talked about the relationship building, collaborative leadership. I know you've heard it probably through many of your presentations about our barn building community and how we operate in a collaborative manner. And I think this pandemic has really shown, particularly in our various sectors, that we've had to become very collaborative and work together in order to get through things that we have. So the other aspect was, at the time for me too, was that of volunteerism. I was ready to give back to community. I'm not a person that is a philanthropist or has that ability, so I was looking at what other ways could I give, and time seemed to be one of those things that I could give. So I was interested in developing and participating as that next generation of volunteers moving into the community, because as we know, there was a sector that they're getting tired. There's time for people to move up and step up and replace some of those other volunteers that are ready to move on to other things. So I was interested in that, but I didn't really know what I wanted to volunteer in yet. So I needed to learn about community. Again, Leadership Waterloo Region allowed that to happen. We learned, like you did, a lot about various agencies. There was a focus on nonprofit at that time and the struggles that they have in terms of their ability to do good work in our community through lack of resources and always sort of struggling for the financial aspect of what they do, which takes away from the focus of doing their good work in areas of homelessness, our opioid problems within our communities, and some of those other things such as hunger and poverty. So, those things were all things that I thought would be important for me to learn about. I think I can actually say I was probably somewhat naive about community, meaning I didn't understand or know how bad things were for some people, because we at this group are all very fortunate in where we are in life. But we find that there are many, many people in our community that are struggling and need help and support. but I wasn't even aware of that at that point because they're sort of underlining in our community. But I think over the years, we've elevated those issues to the forefront in order to make sure that they get looked after, or at least we attempt to. There's no silver bullets. We work hard to make things happen and improve people's lives. So what did I learn? I think the other piece that I learned was that there are also the cultural aspects of our community that struggle, the arts and culture that we sometimes forget about, that get overshadowed by perhaps some other avenues of sports development, those sorts of things. But the arts community is very important to our cultural makeup. And again, this was an area that I wasn't totally familiar with, but then soon learned about things like the Clay and Glass Museum, the museum, various other things that are adding so much to our community, but they also need assistance in volunteerism and governance. So I think those are some of the things that were important to me to try and develop my knowledge base for, in order to assist me to grow and move my career forward. So, these weren't altruistic things. There's something in it for me, but as we often say, we really hope we're getting more out of it than we put into it, because I think that's really important that we learn from these things. The other piece for me was just on the whole governance piece. And I don't know, Diane, whether there's as much focus now on the program in terms of, it's not just about volunteerism, but it's about, yes, she's shaking her head. It's about how does governance work within the nonprofit sector and the volunteer sector. And again, that's been something that I've appreciated learning about, because board work is not easy. It is complicated. It brings a diverse group of people together. And again, we need to learn how to work together. We need to collaborate. We need to listen and hear how, other people's experiences in order to make good decisions. So again, that experience of board work has really benefited me greatly as I've moved my career forward, in terms of my volunteerism with such organizations such as the Kitchener-Waterloo Community Foundation, and now the Cambridge North Dumfries Community Foundation. When I was working in Tillsonburg, I was on the board of the Oxford County United Way. And then even professionally, I've been participating at the board level in various professional associations. So I took those learnings and applied them to the things that I wanted to do, in terms of not only just the community and keeping involved, but also in my professional development. So I transitioned those learnings to assist me in growing. So I think one of the things I wanted to talk about was sort of some of what I got out of the experience. And as I said, the network was extremely valuable, and it is as I speak to you today. So for example, there were a number of, one person particularly in my class who eventually became a local politician and who I eventually actually ended up working for. But it was great to have that past experience together, to understand each other's and help each other through what we wanted to accomplish, whether it was in the political field or in my case, as a career with the city of Waterloo at that time. Another person that my paths has crossed with is Chief Larkin, and I know there's a number of people from the Waterloo Regional Police Services that have been in the program this year. And again, I hadn't seen Brian for many years, come back to Cambridge. There's many issues in Cambridge, as some of you know, as in the region. So Brian and my path has crossed again, and we've been able to move some things forward because we already had a relationship that had been developed through Leadership Waterloo and some of the interactions we had back then. So as I continued to develop my networks, I've also used my networks as mentors because I don't know it all, and none of us do. So another thing I wanted to say is that I think it's really important to lean on others for advice if you think you need to find somebody that you respect that can help you decide and help you lead. And there's always people that have been on the road ahead of you that have experienced some of those difficulties that you have. So for me, the network's been very, very important, both from just knowledge and also for mentorship. which again, I've taken away, and I've been able to mentor and coach people not only within my organization, but within my professional sphere as well. So I talked about the collaboration. I think that goes without saying, and you've all experienced that. You're going to take that to your workplaces or to your other places of activity, and that whole collaborative work is a really important skill to be able to do and participate. Because I think one thing I learned with Leadership Waterloo, you know, we had like 25 leaders in a room fighting to be leaders. We had to learn to back off and just, you know, collaborate to get the job done. I mentioned that it gave me confidence in pursuing my volunteerism in the community, that I had a skill set to bring, that I had some knowledge of community that I felt I could bring to help solve some issues within the community. So I've certainly valued the ability to participate. I found too, when I did leave the region of Waterloo, I felt disengaged, meaning you build those ties and those networks, and when you go somewhere else, it's really hard to start over again. So one of the attractions for me to come back to the region of Waterloo was that network and knowing how things work. And I think Diane mentioned it, one of the days we had was Systems Day, and that was understanding our judicial system and our police system and our governance systems, and just understanding how they actually all link together in various ways, but you don't think about it sometimes. So those things were important to come back to, and I've appreciated that. And then I've always felt that being able to put graduate of Leadership Waterloo Region on my resume always actually started a conversation, because people would ask, well, what was that? And what is that? And I think it really showed, you know, that there was keenness, there was interest, there was learnings in leadership that recruitment people really took to heart, that you were investing in that aspect of yourself. And I think it's actually helped me progress in my career as well. So finally, I just wanted to state that, you know, the mission of Leadership Waterloo Region I take to heart, which is we encourage, empower, and equip current and future leaders to unleash positive change in their communities. That's a very powerful statement to me. So I think moving forward, I've learned that good leaders listen, they learn, they collaborate, and they share success. But I also want to say, you also share failure, but there's learnings from failure too. And I just wanted to give the example of the project we did for Leadership Waterloo back in 2003, was for an arts group to look at their governance and how they should be marketing their organization. And one of the things we learned very quickly was the board was not engaged. The board was not functioning as a strong governance unit. And our project really could not get off the ground because of that. But we figured out that that's a learning. There's dysfunctional boards just as well as there's strong boards. And I think it's really taught us to determine, you know, how can we contribute to become strong members for board development as opposed to barriers on board. So there was a learning out of failure. So don't get upset if things don't always work out the way you thought they would. And I think that's something we've learned. One of the things Beth Ann said in her email was she talk about risk. And I think this is a really important thing, that we have to learn to take risks. I think sometimes we sit back and we look for the easy way, but we have to take risks. But risk has to be calculated. You have to know what the pros and cons of that risk are. And I think that's really important for me coming out of this program, was that I wanted to encourage people to take risk, but there's not to be punishment with risk. It's to be learned that risk needs to be done if we want to advance and move the bar, but it doesn't always work out either. But it's about the learnings. So with that, Diane, I think I've taken a little more than my time, but I did want to share my experiences, and I thank you very much for the opportunity today. And I just want everybody to continue to be kind and be safe in these very challenging times. So thank you, Diane.
Thank you, David. Your words are just so meaningful. Knowing, I've been around since 2002 and being involved in that network and being able to watch your path and your leadership journey and many others that are in our network and to see where that's taken. You've given some sound advice, so community minded. I know all the volunteer work you've done, but as you said, those transferable skills are what makes people a leader. So thank you so much for taking the time out today and coming to support our class of 2020. It's much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, now we have a little special time in our agenda. Each year, the class votes for a valedictorian. So what characteristics does a valedictorian hold? Well, someone who really always seems to go above and beyond, who really is attentive, really listens to their classmates, is curious, wants to learn more, isn't afraid to question, having all of those difficult emotions come up. I've seen this person excited, angry, sad. I've seen all of her. And that is why her leadership strength that not only that she brought to the class, but shared with everyone who came in contact with her, that strength that she has will never be forgotten. So it's my pleasure to introduce you to Alexandra Crusher. Congratulations, Ali, if you want to come and say a few words. Thank you.
Thanks, Diane. I know you said no tears, so hopefully we'll just keep this under wraps. Maybe I'll get you to shed one or two. I just want to start by saying thank you so much to everybody for participating and joining this event today. And a really special thanks to Diane and Beth Ann for creating a space where our class can come together and celebrate the year we spent on this path to becoming leaders in our own unique ways. I'm really honored to represent this class and speak to their experiences that we had. I hold a tremendous amount of admiration and respect for each of you. When I think about the core program and my time with Leadership Waterloo Region, I'm reminded of my introduction to the program at their annual breakfast back in 2019. One of my mentors, Tom Galloway, who's with us today, introduced me to the program and invited me to attend the breakfast. At this event, Jim Clemmer was speaking, and the new style of the curriculum for the program was introduced. This was really my first introduction to leadership and professional development training through this type of a platform. Some of the key points made at that breakfast that stuck with me were concepts of leaders as being quick to adapt to changing circumstances, that leadership is an action, not a position, and that it takes work and effort to move into a perspective of optimism and capitalizing change. These words really resonated with me and motivated me to consider what leadership means to me personally and professionally, and it inspired me to want to participate in the program. Fast forward a few months later to the opening retreat for the core program, and this commitment to leadership as actions rather than a position or a title was immediately validated and solidified. The opening retreat was an immersive experience of adaptability and willingness to change. Diane, Beth Ann, and the entire team at Leadership Waterloo Region created a space where we were encouraged to be our unique selves, be vulnerable with each other, and almost immediately challenge our preconceived notions of what being a leader means. This weekend led to some genuinely meaningful connections with each other, and I don't think that the year would have gone the same way without having this experience. We were introduced to some key concepts that continued through the year, such as having your unique value system that's exemplified in your leadership qualities, and all of those traits that go along with that. The emotional intelligence and the importance of acknowledging your feelings when solving conflict or making difficult decisions, and the introduction to creating our own unique why statements. The opening retreat explored our self-awareness and encouraged us to step out of our comfort zones in order to begin to explore new ways of interpreting the scenarios that we're presented with. When I reflect on this experience, it's clear that the retreat really set the tone for what the rest of the program would offer and how it would be a catalyst to my own leadership journey, and I think as well the journey of my colleagues. As we moved through the year in the core program, each course day brought new ideas, concepts, and subjects that challenged the idea of what leadership and the systems within our community and organizations of which we operate. I was able to push myself to critically consider who I am as a leader and what leadership means to me. This was further challenged by how I see others as leaders. When I think back to the course days and which topics, experiences, or discussions stood out the most, I'm kind of overwhelmed by everything that comes to my mind. From touring the justice system, learning about emotional intelligence, learning the differences between being a leader and a follower, to learning food systems within our region, education, reformation schools, being a new immigrant to refugee here in Waterloo region. There was literally no stone left unturned throughout the course. We closely investigated the systems within our community and how to engage with those systems and how they impact our daily lives. Each course day was so unique and exposed us to opportunities most of us would not have had otherwise. Not only were we confronted with challenging topics, through carefully curated facilitation and instruction, the program really created a safe space where we could raise questions and push our views and our values and question topics about the community that we live in. I want to share just a few concepts that really resonated with me, and I know have resonated with some of my colleagues from discussions and reflections with them. The first is emotional intelligence. You've heard this a few times already today with Jackie Lauer. Every session we had with Jackie felt like such a privilege, and it was really so inspiring to me. Jackie introduced us to the think, feel, want process and understanding how to move through this process when we are working with others or confronted with challenges in decision making. One of the lessons I've worked to embody since the program is to be more authentically myself when working with others and creating solutions. This includes acknowledging my emotions, holding space for my feelings, and being aware that I am creating my own interpretation of the scenario that is unique to me and not necessarily what others are interpreting. When we keep these concepts at the forefront of our minds, we are able to differentiate our experiences from someone else. This creates opportunity for solutions that not only work in my opinion and for my experience, but also serve others in achieving a more ideal outcome. And that's something that everyone is going to be impacted by. Jackie also worked through sessions of unconscious bias with us, where we're unaware of beliefs or values that we're holding about the world around us. When considering this in leadership, we often surround ourselves with an inner circle that supports our affinity bias. And this can lead to a lack of diversity amongst leadership teams, which can further lead to lack of innovation. It can result in shared perspectives or goals. This is something I've really tried to think about in my professional setting when considering the teams that I'm part of or the types of teams that I'm creating in my own workplace. One of the key messages Jackie shared with us that I try to remind myself is that high functioning, innovative leaders are models of diversity, inclusion, and masters in emotional intelligence. I just really want to say thank you to Jackie for her time and her commitment to this program. The second key topic I want to talk about is leadership and followership with Sam and Mark Hurwitz. Here we were introduced to the balance between leadership and followership, where leadership is setting the framework that builds optimum conditions for success, and followership is creating within that framework and taking an informed initiative. In any given circumstance, we need to reflect on whether leadership or followership is more or less important to what you're doing and in achieving a successful outcome. Being a great leader also means being a great follower. We were also introduced to a variety of concepts in neuroscience and learning how to leverage our brains to make more effective decisions. Mark guided us through ways to activate the unconscious mind and achieve better, more effective results. One of the key lessons that I try to utilize from Mark and Sam's sessions is the idea of separating data gathering from decision making. To me, this is the idea of making a really clear distinction from information gathering before you even consider the decision that you want to make once you are informed. In order to utilize your brain in the most effective way, we have to consciously separate our thinking. I try to use this in my own leadership style, and when I'm confronted with new challenges or difficult decisions that I might have to make, I really try to lean on these tools. So thank you to Mark and Sam for an incredibly fun and very inspiring discussions. The third facilitator that I'm going to talk about is Jim Clemmer. He was able to join us for a few sessions and always brought new concepts and ideas to challenge us and push us to be better leaders. Jim discussed concepts in positive psychology and resilience, the idea of utilizing your experiences to make you a stronger leader. He also discussed ideas of how to create open, transparent, and trust-based cultures, whether that's within an organization that you're part of or how you're creating the space that you want to work with other people in. Through our discussions with Jim, he provided us with many tools to implement in our own leadership style, especially when it comes to leading teams and fulfilling the coach role. For myself, I found this really invaluable in my own leadership journey. And one of the things that Jim noted that really stuck with me is the idea that leaders are able to recognize how to get themselves out of the way in order to allow others to flourish and grow. This is something I've really tried to utilize as I continue down this path of being a coach, a leader, a mentor. Thank you to Jim for your time and your guidance. These are just a few of the concepts that we were presented throughout the year. There were so many incredible speakers and facilitators that I just simply don't have the time today to touch on everything, but thank you to all of them who participated. I do know that all of them brought something really unique for us to incorporate into our leadership journey and the actions that we take as leaders. I have recognized that these concepts and discussions that we had as a group have broadened my own perspective to better understand individuals, organizations, and systems that I'm part of. I recognize more easily where there are failures in leadership and how to better appreciate the leaders around me who I have chosen to follow. I do think that I have a new sense of respect and honor for what it means to embody and exude leadership within both our professional and personal lives. In parallel to exploring these concepts in leadership, we explored systems within our community. Specifically, we focused on affordable housing in Waterloo region. Here we had the opportunity to meet and explore everything from homelessness to home ownership and the entire housing spectrum within Waterloo region. We worked through identification of the problems existing within the system to solutions that are actively being implemented in our community. And we explored new solutions and new ideas to continue tackling this ever-changing dynamic to access to affordable housing. We were guided through this experience by Dr. Sean Gobey of the Waterloo Institute for Social Innovation and Resilience as we explored these systems and complex problem solving in social innovation. We started with the Housing Cafe, where we had the opportunity to meet and discuss a variety of efforts engaged in the housing spectrum from not-for-profit to public and private sectors. We were able to discuss very challenging topics with practitioners and organizations in our community that are combating day in and day out to make housing more accessible and affordable to everyone. Some of the key concepts that were brought forward through our assessments of affordable housing were that housing solutions need to have multi-sector approaches. They need to position harm reduction at the core of the solution, and we need to consider housing solutions to be permanent rather than transient, as all individuals along the housing spectrum have different requirements and needs, and you will require a unique solution. There are so many circumstances that trigger a shift for an individual in what is impacting their housing needs. We continued with discussions of systemic change and how such changes require buy-in from all perspectives represented within the system. A solution can work when everyone can see themselves in the plan. We had the opportunity to meet all the mayors of major townships and cities within Waterloo region, where we had the unique experience to hear their ideas, ask really candid questions, and get very honest about the systemic issues that are affecting affordable housing. These discussions were the catalyst to the creation of our own unique solutions, which were presented at the end of the course. I'm really looking forward to seeing how these solutions are going to continue to grow, evolve, and support the efforts within our community. A lot of the journey of this core program was centralized around the concept of our individual why statements, the why that motivates us as individuals, but also understanding the why behind organizations and systems that we're part of. I know personally, I found the exercises around defining my own why statement to be a challenge. I've never really put into words what my intrinsic motivation is or what my why is, the values that I carry with me in everything I do, the pulse that's behind my motivation, my decisions, and my actions. The reason that I react in a certain way or not. We were able to explore all the ways our decisions are driven by our unique why statement. And through the various exercises and discussions we had throughout this journey, we were able to create and narrow our own unique why statement. We started the year with this exercise and we finished and revisited this at the end of the course. As I was reflecting on the core program and so many of the incredible lessons and discussions that we had, I really became overwhelmed with gratitude for having a space where we could explore how we approach and solve problems, how we can be our best on teams and individually, and how we can not only be leaders, but also followers at the same time. This is a unique and challenging journey. And if you're willing to open yourself to it, it's very, very rewarding. As I was going through my notes in preparation for today, I found my own why statement that was cultivated at the end of the course. And I thought I would just close my speech here by telling you what my why is. So this is it. To consistently be resilient in forging a unique path through my leadership so that this can be reflected in others and they see the potential in themselves. I just want to say thank you again to the organizations and all the professionals that took time to share discussions with our class. And thank you to my classmates. I'm delighted to have shared this experience with each of you. And I really look forward to following the journey of the next class and the continuation of housing solutions. Thank you.
Wow, Ali, thank you so much for those words.
Are you crying yet, Diane?
Yes, it happens. What an honor. And when I said strength, to see that strength and then hearing your why statement, one thing I really respect is you are always able to question your assumptions, and hearing your journey is just confirmation that this is why we do what we do. So thank you so much for taking the time to speak today, to prepare that, and for being such a good friend for all of us. And I'm looking forward to being in touch and seeing where you go. Thank you so much. We're just going to show, we've talked about all these things that have happened over the year, but we have a small video we've put together, a compilation of pictures, so that everyone here can sort of see your year journey. So Bethan? Wow, Bethan, thank you so much for putting that together. It is amazing. And I hope, you know, you say you have the warm fuzzies. I sure do. That was just really wonderful to highlight some of the things that we've heard about today. And I know you can feel those friendships when you watch that video. So who would like to meet the class of 2020? Anyone here? Yeah, I sure would like to say hello. So what we're going to do is call people forward. And how do we do this, Bethan? We're going on gallery view?
No, I'm going to spotlight everyone. So when it's your time and we call your name, you'll have an opportunity to kind of step forward. And Diane, you have some instructions for the class, don't you? One last exercise for everyone to participate.
One last exercise. Now, they've learned to be precise and articulate. So I want to hear one word. One word. Give me one word that explains how you're feeling 5 months after taking your course. And you know what? You do that, and I'm going to give you one word that I feel about you. How's that sound? Sound great? Okay. First, we're going to introduce you to Marie-Josée Boyle Sweeney.
Hello, everybody. My word is enlightened. This course has given me the opportunity of really seeing behind me. And I was a pretty close-minded kind of individual in construction, you know, going from plan to construction as straight as we can. And now I learned that we can go up and down. And at the end of the day, we still have a good product. I'm working on 2 secondary suites at the time. So that's a pretty good thing. And hopefully, yeah, that's exciting. And I thank everybody for all the effort they made this year, because I know it was really, I grew up. I was the oldest one in the group, and I feel like I grown in this project, in this program. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And Marie-José, what I didn't say is you're with Decorator's Corner.
Yeah.
And that's your own business. And my word for you is caring. You are one of the most caring people about your family, your community, the projects. Caring is my word for you. So
Thank you.
congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Paul. Next, we have Wes Erie. Congratulations, Wes. Wes is with Waterloo Region Police Services. What's your word for us today?
Well, I think I've used this word before, Diane, but I'm going to use it again. It's gratitude. I consistently feel that for this entire group. Ali summed things up so nicely, but there's so much that I've taken away from this process, and I truly am not the same person as I was a year ago. And I'd love to say that those attributes and gains that I've received through this program were through the work that I put in, but truly the sacrifices, the vulnerability that everybody invested in this course has changed me, and I've learned so much from every single person, and I can't help but feel gratitude, and will continue to. And as I go through my career and as I learn day by day, I can't help but be reminiscent on times through this program and consistently feel gratitude. And so that's my word. Thanks.
Thank you, Wes. And my word for you is justice. You will not stop till everyone is treated fairly. And for that, I thank you. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thanks, Tony.
Next, we have Louise Finley from the City of Waterloo. Congratulations, Louise. And what's your word for us?
Thanks, Diane. My word is eye-opening. I think my eyes were open to the community and to myself. I often reflect back on our opening retreat, and I think we were in there for half an hour, and you asked us to break out into little groups, and I broke out with JK. And I was very vulnerable. I just opened myself completely, and I knew then he trusted what I said, and he opened up the same way, and it was an amazing experience that I had. And I just want to thank my class. I miss you guys. I miss you guys seeing you in person. It's very different via Zoom, but I hope you're all well. And thank you for the opportunity.
And my word for you, Louise, is advocate. I would want you in my court. You'll make sure people are treated right. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane.
Next, we have Amanda Francini.
Hi, everyone. My word for the program and my experience through it, I would say aware. And I use this in a couple different contexts. I mean, I have a love of learning, so the content itself really made me aware, whether it was emotional intelligence or neuroscience or systems change, but also aware of everyone's uniqueness and what they brought to each project and each collaboration. Every environment we were in was new and were experiences I never would have been exposed to on my own. And you can't unsee all of these things now. Like, I will never stop following this affordable housing issue. And you see it in the news, and you can't help but follow it and dig into it and keep the conversation going. So I would say aware.
Excellent, thank you. And I didn't say Amanda's also with Waterloo Regional Police Services. And my word, well, I'm going to put a hyphen in there, so it's one word, is emotional intelligence. I think that you score so high in that, and a real joy to be around. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Next, again from Waterloo Regional Police Services is JK Gill. Hi, JK.
Hi, Diane. If there's one word that would describe how I feel after this journey, is humbled. Before we even went to the retreat, we read a book called Start With Why. And it was a book by Simon Sinek. And before going to this retreat, my outlook on leadership was completely different than it is now. I believe that leaders were people that knew everything, people that directed and made orders and made decisions in tough times. But I learned through my journey that, you know what, leadership is about innovation and about empowering the people around you, to trust people around you, and overall to have people around you that are going to help you make the best decision. It's people that, you know, follow your vision. And with my new position with the Waterloo Regional Police, I'm in the Equity, Inclusion, Diversity team. And like Mr. Calder said, that, you know what, when you have so many leaders together, it's hard to hone everybody back. But I think going hand in hand with being a good leader is being a good follower. And I think, you know, being a good ally and having strong followership just shows that, you know, how good of a leader that you are. So I want to thank Beth and Diane. Thank you for your hard work, dedication, and the love that you showed myself and the entire team. And you know what, I really appreciate everything that you guys have done and helped me become the person that I am today. Thank you.
My word for you is trust. I trust you with my life, JK.
That's awesome.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Cameron?
Here I am.
Hello,
Oh,
this is Cameron Hawk from Libero
Perfect
Credit
timing.
Union.
I'm getting a little visitor here too. This is the life of COVID and working from home.
That's
Daddy's
good
got to say a
hear.
couple of things, okay? My word is community, and you know, it's just the exposure the program provided to our community. It was real, it was authentic, and you know, without the program, I don't think you know, we'd be where we are today. So thank you very much for the opportunity, everyone.
Thank you, Cam. And my word for you is role model. It just,
Thank you.
the way you carry yourself, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you. Bruce Hilborn. Bruce is with the Region of Waterloo. Hey, Bruce.
Hello, can you hear me?
What's your word today?
I think my word is hopeful. Throughout this entire experience, I've learned so much and about myself and about the community and about everyone a part of this program. And it left me feeling hopeful that there's people that I'm surrounded with now that care about things so passionately and are willing to put themselves on the line and be vulnerable and reach themselves out there for a better cause. So this program left me very hopeful and also missing my classmates every month for the meeting.
Word for you is positivity. You just give that aura off with everything you do. And what you don't know about Bruce is he would hold court the day after class and tell all of his coworkers about all of his teachings and make sure they knew everything he had learned. So for that, we say thank you.
Thank you, Dad.
Deborah Ingraham from the city of Cambridge. Hi, Deborah.
Hi, Diane. Hi, everybody. I can't just do one word. I am going to go with enlightened and privileged. It was enlightening to just be part of this team and to be able to experience the community in a way that I would never have had the opportunity to see. And privileged for that exact same reason. It opened my eyes to so much more. And Diane, you and I met with lived experience group, and that changed me. I am a lot more compassionate towards people now. I mean, I was always compassionate, but now I have that different lens when you have a chance to actually talk to people who are going through some really, really horrible times and getting their perspective. So thank you for that, and opening up a different world for me. It's been a great journey for me. So thank you.
Thank you. And my word for you is non-judgmental. That is such a strength.
Thank
you, Deborah. Congratulations. Alexandra Crusher.
Okay, I'm going to show my certificate.
Yay!
If that's part of this part. You guys have already heard me talk a lot, so I'm going to keep this quick. But when I was thinking about my word, I found it a little challenging to find one. But the word I have picked is fortitude. And I found a great few sentences of what I think aptly describes this. So fortitude is always reasoned and reasonable, The cardinal virtue of fortitude, it involves practicing what is good and just when it is difficult and even dangerous. A person with fortitude practices patience when meeting obstacles, and they do what is right even when others criticize them. And I think that this course really showed us how to have fortitude.
Thank you. My word for you is courageous.
Thank
Never
you.
lose that. Thank you. Congratulations. Hello, Kimberly McCaw from Green Horizon Sod Farms. Hey, Kimberly, how are you?
Good, Diane. I just finished work. I'm now working for the province and just finished my work. That's why I signed on a little bit late. But the word that I can think of through my experience with the Leadership Waterloo is perspective. By looking through a different lens and leveraging hidden talent within ourselves, we become different leaders, and we can reach deep down and understand we can be leaders and can be followers depending on the situation. And thank you, Bethan and Diane, for the opportunity to learn from each of you and each one of our classmates. Through our leadership, personal leadership journey, you've touched us in many different ways that we will reflect on as we move forward.
Thank you, Kim. And my word for you is action. You just get it done. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Paige Monk-Whip from the Waterloo Region Police Services.
Hi, everybody. My word is emboldened, and it's really how I feel after this journey and after getting to share this time with everyone. And I'm now I was very lucky through the program to be with 3 colleagues in my organization, JK, Wes, and Amanda, but I now work closely with JK. And I think it's so interesting that his word was humbled and mine is emboldened, because I think it speaks to the magnitude and the diversity of this program. And really thinking about everything through the systems lens, which Dr. Sean Goby, I want to say encouraged us, but really made us do. I think it's really called me to believe that we're more than the sum of our parts, and what we've accomplished is more than any of us could have done individually. So I feel emboldened through the connections with this group, and I look forward to continuing those for years to come. And thank you so much for having me as part of this program. Thank you to the organization for allowing me to be part of this. It's been really special.
Thank you so much, Paige. My word for you is stamina. You just won't give up. You'll just keep going. And thank you. It was a pleasure to be with you this year. Russ Parnell from Walter Fady.
Hey, thanks, Diane. And thanks to my classmates and everybody else that made this such a great year. My word is ready. So it's been challenging, exhausting in a good way, and eye-opening class of 2020. We've had some great exposure to the systems in the community and to the challenges that we're facing. So what it means is now we've got a great group of people here who are ready to get out there and start doing our part to making it a better place.
Fantastic. Thank you, Russ. My word for you is honest. And that hits high on my value chart. Thank you so much. Melissa Ryan from the City of Kitchener. Hi, Melissa.
Hi. So my word is empowered. So, we were dealing with a complex system, and I didn't have a background in affordable housing, and sort of initially really felt like, what are we going to be able to do? And through all of our learning, we realized that, yes, a group of people who care, who are willing to sort of like just roll up their sleeves and figure this out can do something. So I've taken this away, all the learnings, and, taking an ember and I'm like blowing on it and turning it into something. So I just want to say, I agree with what Ali said. Leadership is action, not a position, not a title. And so, I just want to thank this opportunity and everyone in it. So that's like Diane and Bethan and all of the organizations that help support and fund this, but also my classmates and all of the experiences we had, because it didn't discourage me. I thought it might at the beginning. Honestly, I thought, I don't know how we're going to do this. But, just do it. Just take action, just move forward. And it doesn't matter if it's huge, just start somewhere is why I feel empowered. So thank you.
my word for you is intelligence. You're always seeking information and learning. Thank you so much, Melissa. Now we have a few classmates that weren't able to join us today. So I'll start top left and then go left to right and left to right again on the bottom. So the first one is Erin Miney from the City of Waterloo, Ellie Levine from ODC Tooling and Molds, Kyle Zune, BMW Grand River, Craig Dickert from Enbridge, Rob Connell, KPMG, and Jordan Bilkis from Cowan Insurance Group. And our heartfelt thanks goes out to them and hearty congratulations for completing this year. Thank you. So it's my honor now to introduce the video from our board chair, Paul Rabb. Paul has been along the journey this year. He has attended several of the days, and he is really sending his sincere regrets that he wasn't able to join us in person. But because he knew of that, he has recorded a message for the class. So I'll just let Bethan play that. Thank you, Bethan.
Good evening. My name is Paul Rabb. I've had the pleasure of serving on Leadership Waterloo Region and its board of directors for more than 10 years. Most recently, I had the privilege of serving as chair, and I've been honored to play an important role along with my fellow board members and staff to lead the organization and its core program through very important strategic changes. Speaking on behalf of the entire board, we're so very proud of you, the class of 2020, for being the first to participate in the revamped program, featuring new partnerships with Wiser and Wellbeing Waterloo Region. Congratulations on all of your success with the solutions you've developed through your affordable housing, social innovation lab work. I had the opportunity to view the final report, and it is a tangible demonstration of the hard work, dedication, creativity, and of the relationships each of you built. I was both impressed and inspired by the affordable housing solutions you have put forward. Look forward to seeing how those solutions are rolled out across our community. Your efforts have highlighted opportunities as well as possibilities that have helped to form new relationships and partnerships and create action-ready projects that we hope to get the community to support. As a fellow citizen of Waterloo Region, I would like to share a very sincere, heartfelt thank you. I also wish to say congratulations on your convocation and for joining the over 450 alumni that helped comprise the Leadership Waterloo Region network. I look forward to learning in future about the notable differences each of you continue to make in our community through your leadership roles and community spirit. I have no doubt that there were likely occasions this year where each of you may have questioned why you had joined the program. This may have been due to workload, family obligations, perhaps Zoom fatigue, disappointment or frustration with a presenter, or perhaps even a classmate. This would only be natural. However, each of you persevered and collectively made an impactful contribution to our region, to our home. For all of this, I would like to say again, thank you. Thank you on behalf of staff, of the board of directors, and of our community. I look forward to getting to know each of you better as the years move forward through our alumni network. We're very grateful that you chose to share your past with each other and Leadership Waterloo Region. Once more, congratulations to all of you, class of 2020.
Excellent, and thank you to Paul. Well, we're going to wrap it up. We're going to ask our class members to stay online though, because we do want to take one more class picture and we do want to have a little celebration. But to our guests that took the time to join us today, we felt your support. It's funny you're in Zoom, but it is so great to have so many people here supporting our class, and joining their journey, being a part of their memories as we go forward. And if any of you have questions about Leadership Waterloo Region, please feel free to reach out at any time. We are always loving to talk leadership. Again, thank you to all of our sponsors who are on the line, all of our facilitators, our alumni, and our many volunteers. So at that, I'll say have a safe evening, stay well, and we look forward to being in touch. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.